Alright, so today I wanted to really talk about the prestige grind in Black Ops 6 and whether or not it's really worth your time, your effort, if it means something in the grand scheme of things, or if it's just a big waste of time. Now I want to first just briefly explain what the prestige system is in case you're new to Call of Duty or you're just getting started on Black Ops 6. Basically, the prestige system is a special sort of way to level up multiple times, and it occurs after a certain milestone. In the case of Black Ops 6, level 55 is the max level per prestige tier, and you have to do this 10 times to get to prestige mastery levels, where you'll then need to hit level 1000, where you'll officially become like the prestige master, basically. Now this obviously takes a lot of time and effort in gameplay, and it takes a while, and if you don't have all the time in the world to game, you might be wondering if it's even worth going for this sort of system. I'm currently at prestige 3. Now I could have leveled up a bit earlier, but I had to camo grind some things a while back, so I stayed in prestige 2 for a bit longer than I would have normally stayed, but at face value I am at prestige 3. It took me quite a good number of hours and a lot of times on things like zombies and multiplayer to hit that point, and I just kind of wanted to talk about what I personally feel about the whole thing. Now, I've loaded into lobbies with people who are almost at prestige 10, if not at prestige 10 and beyond, so, there's some people who have really been grinding this game a lot, so I just kind of wanted to talk about it in general for those who are maybe a little bit skeptical. So the thing is, with the prestige system, each time you go to prestige, you have to restart basically as though you're at level 1, which means that your guns get locked, your perks get locked, wildcards get locked, the weapon attachments, the reticles, those things, they don't, so that's a positive, but you don't get access to some things that you had access to, and each time you go to prestige, the same thing is going to happen. Now your weapon level doesn't restart, so if your gun was at level 30, your gun is still at level 30, just letting you know. If you had blueprints for a weapon unlocked, like through the battle pass or a shop bundle, then that gun doesn't get locked again when you prestige, so that's something to keep in mind. With prestige though, each time you prestige, you get access to a permanent unlock. You can use this permanent unlock then to get access to some things forever, even when you prestige. So this includes stuff like weapons, wildcards, whatever else there is that gets locked when you prestige, basically. So far, I've used it for the AS Val, because you do have to wait till level 55 to get that, and I didn't want to wait. I also used it for the gunfighter wildcard. I also used it for the stim, but I kind of wasn't really happy that I did that. I should have probably done it for something else. Whatever, it happens. In any case, with all that being said, is it worth the grind in the first place? I'll do this by breaking down the pros and cons of the prestige system and then make a conclusion, so let's start with the pros. Firstly, the prestige system is nice because of that extra level of reward you get. It's basically another way to reward you for gameplay time in terms of leveling up, and the concept of leveling up in a game is really the oldest reward system there is. If you spend a lot of time playing this game like I do, then you tend to find out it's more fun to get more out of your time than just needing to unlock battle pass tiers. Plus, it's sort of like a goal that you can see for yourself, and it's much more accomplishing when you can reach that goal, basically. With prestige, you can also unlock free skins for some operators in the game, so you get some pretty interesting skins inspired by previous Call of Duty eras and titles. There's like a World at War zombie skin. There is a Black Ops 1 skin inspired by Alex Mason. I actually like the prestige skins probably more than the skins that are included in the shop and the bundles and whatever. They feel more like real homages to other Call of Duty titles. There's even one skin that looks like Menendez from Black Ops 2, which is neat. I feel like these skins are definitely more rewarding to unlock because of the prestige system. You feel more accomplished, I think. There's also some extra stuff that you unlock, like weapon blueprints, calling cards, gobblegums, and more. You play zombies, it's always nice to have some more gobblegums, so having that extra ability is great. Some of the blueprints come with attachments that you can't get in the base game or through standard unlocks, so yeah, there's a lot to it in terms of unlockables. The prestige emblems are also some extra ways that you can add some customization to your profile as you prestige. However, your emblem does change with each prestige tier that you go in the first 10, so do keep that in mind. Another thing is the XP that you earn once you hit max level is going to become basically kind of useless, and so when you prestige, yes, you start over at level 1 effectively, but your XP is counting towards something so that you don't feel like you're just wasting your time getting all this XP and not getting any further levels. At first, I thought it would be annoying to have to restart all my progress because that's a bit difficult when it comes to re-unlocking everything after you basically just unlocked everything. However, what I found is that it doesn't really get that difficult. If you use the permanent unlocks each time on something that you just find yourself running constantly, then it makes sense to just keep going up and using the permanent unlocks. If you aren't using some things, then you're not really missing out on much by having it locked again. Your weapon levels will remain, attachments will remain, and so on, so you're not really realistically even missing out on that. I also want to say, I do feel like the levels kind of go up a little bit more somehow when you're prestiging. I don't really know if anyone else has noticed that, but when I went to Prestige 1, for instance, I felt like the leveling up system just went faster, and with double XP, it goes even faster, right? So when there's a double XP event, I did mention this in a video from a few days ago where I recommend that during a double XP weekend or event or whatever, that you should probably focus on the prestiging if that's something that you value. So I just kind of feel like the leveling up process isn't too difficult. It just gets kind of tedious having to do it 10 times and whatever. But anyways, now for the cons of the prestige system. If you are a casual player and you aren't really on this game constantly, then trying to worry about the prestige grind and thinking about losing access to a ton of things that you don't want to lose access to, that might be a tough sell. I can definitely understand that if you play about an hour or two of Call of Duty in a day, then you probably want to just get on and play, maybe game with your friends, so you don't really feel like there's any worth or value to losing so much stuff just for the concept of a prestige system. If you also aren't really that focused on things like the multiplayer, or you're someone that just plays Warzone mostly than the standard base game, then prestige systems aren't really that helpful for you because you'd want to retain your weapons constantly and things like that, since Warzone, a lot of the times there are some people that like to create specific loadouts and whatnot. Now I know some of the previous Modern Warfare guns are included, but if you're running guns from Black Ops 6, you obviously don't want those to be locked when you have loadouts that you're running. Also, I guess another thing is that if you're someone that doesn't really care to unlock stuff like calling cards, weapons, blah blah blah, and you're fine with the base stuff that you've been getting so far, or you care more about the battle pass and to you the prestige stuff isn't really that big of a deal, it's not significant, then it's not really a pro for you to keep going and unlocking these things through prestige. Another thing that could be considered a con is that I tend to hear that some people back out from lobbies with people who have a high prestige level, that it may be harder to get into matches. I'm not 100% sure how true that is. If it is true, that might be another con for the prestige system. I personally didn't really notice that when I was playing, but you know, when I had people in really high prestige levels, I didn't really see like an uptick in people backing out. A lot of people back out when they don't like the game modes or the maps or whatever. But anyways, it might take more time for the camo grind, however, which might be a bit of a drawback if that's something that you want to get done faster, basically because some weapons will be locked. You might not have the camos unlocked before you prestige, then you'll need to re-unlock the weapon again, and only then will you be able to continue that camo grind. So this might be a negative for you if you're more focused on that. Now, from an overall perspective, do I think it's worth it to grind the prestige levels in Black Ops 6? I personally do, and I think it's worth it, and that's why I'm going for it. I think it adds more to the game, and I also feel like it just makes the game feel more complete. Also, I finished the battle pass, so working on the prestige and the camo grind gives me stuff to do, so it doesn't really feel like I'm just loading up matches for no true reason or purpose. I mentioned this in my video on the battle pass and if it's worth it or not, but I basically said that I like Call of Duty. I'm not a huge fan though of just playing multiplayer games where there isn't really a real reward, hence why I like these sorts of things that you have to work for to unlock. It just feels like it's not a huge waste of my time in my opinion, basically. Also, another thing that I like about the prestige system in Call of Duty is that you get so many things to unlock other than just an emblem or the idea of being prestige 1, 2, whatever, and so on. You actually get skins, you get weapon blueprints, you get calling cards, gobblegums, whatever, which I think is great. It adds even more worth and value to the progression. I think that it also makes a lot of sense, even if you mostly play stuff like zombies, your XP has a purpose, you get more things for zombies as well. It just feels more accomplishing, but that's just my take on the idea of the prestige system. If you're a completionist, you like to go for 100% in games, then I definitely think that this is one aspect you can do that in Call of Duty, so that might be like a positive for you. Now, I have no idea if I'm gonna try to go for the like maximum level 1000. I feel like that maybe is a bit too much, but we'll see as I grind the camos and the prestige system and whatever. We'll see how that ends up working out. If I do get to that level, you might see a video from me talking about if it was worth it or not, but you know, we'll let time take its course. I think that it is a lot of time just spent on a game if you are a casual player, so I would say a few prestige levels is worth it if you're just a casual player. You don't want to spend like hundreds upon hundreds of hours in the game. Unless you do, then that works for you. However, for some people it might feel like a chore, and it might take the fun out of the game if you constantly feel like you're supposed to be working for something, or that you have to work for something, when you really just want to get on the game, enjoy your time, have fun with your friends, or even just play for your own enjoyment. And then you start thinking about how to prestige, what sort of things you need to do to prestige, and so on and so forth. Personally, I like challenges. That's just me. Some people don't. That's fine. I kind of like having to like do calculations and thinking about how much I have to do for this thing and how much I have to do for that thing. I just kind of do that in games in general, but that's me. That's a personal thing. Some people don't. I think it's nice that there is an option at the end of the day where you can choose to prestige, or you can choose to just keep playing and enjoy your game time. It's a good system at the end of the day, and it's not something that ultimately does affect you when you're playing unless you choose to opt into it, basically. In any case, that's my take on the whole thing, and if you ask me from a personal standpoint, yeah, the prestige grind is worth it. If you asked me who should prestige though, I'd say if you're dedicated to the game, it's almost pretty much the only video game you play, you like challenges, you're a completionist, you like working towards stuff, then you should probably go for the prestige grind. However, if you're not that type of person, you just like to casually play games for fun here and there, you're not a completionist, that doesn't really matter to you, maybe you don't really want the pressure of having to work for something, maybe working for the prestige grind just isn't worth it for you, and that's perfectly fine. At the end of the day, do what works for you and what works for your time in the game and what works for your ease of mind. And I'll wrap the video up there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe with notifications set to all so you never miss out on a single upload. Be sure to share this video and comment below what you think about the prestige grind, if you're going for it, or if you think it's worth it or not. And yeah, that's all for today, folks.